June is Pride Month, and during this time, the world's LGBTQ communities come together and celebrate the freedom to be themselves. And today on Lunchtime Live at the Center, we're kicking off Pride Month with Patrick Dunn, who's the Executive Director for the New Haven Pride Center. Patrick, welcome. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
So, talk to us about the New Haven Pride Center. What is it? What's your mission? Who is it for also?
So the New Haven Pride Center is one of two LGBTQ community centers here in Connecticut. We're also one of the 4 staffed LGBTQ nonprofits in Connecticut. There's many others that are unstaffed. So I don't say that to discount anyone, just giving context to kind of the landscape, if you will. And you know, our mission is to provide educational, social enrichment, and other programming and services for the community. What I always like to say when I talk about like who we are is to talk about kind of the 5 guiding principles of how we do our work. So the 5 guiding principles for how we create what we do is to provide case management and support services for the community, create opportunities for people to come together for shared experiences, the promotion of LGBTQ plus arts, culture, and humanities, the empowerment of youth and education, and advocacy for the LGBTQ community. So everything we do kind of fits into one or more of those categories. And that's kind of how we exist. That's how we create, and how we ultimately do like all of the programming and all of the various services that we do for the community.
And and as far as LGBTQ plus, who does that include? To
everybody. I mean, I can do the whole letter alphabet for you because so the whole letter, the current accepted long form is LGBTQIP2SAA, which stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, pansexual, two-spirited, asexual, and agender.
You are all inclusive.
There's, of course, many other letters that are not in the kind of long form, currently accepted long form version, you know, and all of the beautiful additional identities that are created by the creation, you know, the cross-pollination of the main in quote letters that are out there. But definitely the, you know, kind of the most recognizable are obviously like gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender. You know, I think intersex is becoming kind of a lot more recognized just because of a lot of the work kind of the community has been doing to uplift those voices. But yeah, so we're a little bit of everybody, really. That, you know, I always say the LGBTQ community is a snapshot of the larger world, which is why, like, when I talk about things like queer liberation and the work for advocacy for queer equity, I always talk about the fact that we're an intersectional community. Basically, any problem that you see in the larger world, our community has a responsibility to be a part of finding a solution for. You know, I said yesterday at a press conference for the governor that, you know, we can't talk about things like eliminating homophobia, biphobia, and transphobia without talking about the root causes of sexism. We can't talk about how we as a community fight for the right to live without fighting for the rights of undocumented people to live, right? We can't, you know, we can't address hatred within and towards our community without talking about racism, without talking about anti-Blackness. And so really, you know, when I say like we're a little bit of everybody, I mean that in the sense of both we're a snapshot of the world, right? Because anyone and everyone can fall under the queer umbrella because, you know, it's not like a queer person is born to a queer person, right? Like, you know, I always say the thing that bonds us is that we don't look like our parents. We're the only minority group that doesn't look like our parents.
So what you mentioned those 5 umbrellas. What kind of support services do you offer at your center?
So the kind of what we're most known for in support services is our case management program, which is run by Juan Carlos Soto. And he is an incredible case manager. He helps people from everything from like filing unemployment to name change documents to connecting with incredible resources in the community for fertility, for medical, for, you know, and legal. So he does kind of all of those various things. And the other big thing that we're known for is our support groups. We've we provide an amazing space for peer-led support groups for every kind of identity that falls under the beautiful umbrella that is the queer community, sexual orientation, gender identity, both, youth-focused ones, all sorts of things. Other things that we do that we're kind of maybe not as commonly known for, but we do is we have a community food pantry. Over the summer, last summer, we actually did a huge food distribution network and gave out 65,000 pounds of food in 17 weeks. Wow. And then we also have a community closet where people can come and get gender affirming clothes or just clothes in general that they might need, that they can't afford, don't want to buy, whatever their reasoning is. Maybe they're I don't want to contribute to waste and I want to use only used clothes, right? But it's a free clothing closet full of clothes from everything from fun things to wear to the beach all the way to a suit to wear to your interview, right? And so those are some of the other things that we provide that can maybe a little lesser known.
And can you talk a little bit about your, the services for the youth?
Yeah, so we are super excited. We actually just made our youth program manager, Ala Ochimare, full-time last month, May 1st. And that was great. And so Ala works with youth. So we define youth using the international definition, which is also kind of the one that's used for like homeless communities and stuff. So we say youth is 0 to 25. Okay. And we have programming that goes all the way from younger LGBTQ folks and families all the way up to kind of young adult age in that kind of 18 to 25 range. And we do a little bit of everything. We have a really big focus on youth empowerment through youth organizing and teaching tools around the idea of organizing and being an advocate as a young person. We do a lot of work with our youth around racial justice. We have a lot of youth that are Black, Indigenous, people of color, so BIPOC youth. And that includes something like, we do a summer camp program called the Black and Brown Summer Camp, which is for youth that are Black and Brown. It's a 7-day program that we do in partnership with Citywide Youth Coalition here in New Haven. And so we have a lot of those kinds of programs too that are really geared towards empowering kind of youth that might not always feel like they're welcome in queer spaces. So that's like super important to us. And we've done a lot of work in that arena to really make sure that, youth who maybe speak Spanish as their primary language, or youth that are coming from Black and Brown communities really feel like they can come into our space and feel welcome.
Do you have, I think I saw something about a mentorship program. Is that?
Yeah, we're super excited. Yeah, it's not technically launched yet, but I think Allah is going to start the first training session in like 2 weeks. But it's going to be we're going to be doing a mentorship program. It's kind of similar, but not the same to like the programs that exist, like the state funds through programs like the Department of Children and Family Services, for example, has a bunch of these kind of mentorship programs. So it's kind of like those, but also not. So basically the idea is like connecting young people with other young people and with kind of older young people, as Allah likes to say, older youth who want to kind of share in community building and support structures for young people who might need a little extra support and might need a little extra support in a non-group environment, right? Because that doesn't necessarily work for every person, especially doesn't work for every LGBTQ youth. And so it's about really building these like incredible support structures. And our mentors are going to be going through, I think it's like a 17 class training program to become a mentor. And all of it's, obviously based in best practices and in the idea of wanting to, make it super safe for the young people. But it's really about creating kind of a world where these youth have a structure of support. So if they don't have support from kind of what we expect of like traditional avenues of like family or school or whatever, they know that they have this network of people they can tap through the mentorship program and through the center staff to make sure, that all of our youth feel supported and are able to live their best selves.
Right. And what types of services do you have for family building? And, I know that you're having an event coming up, so maybe talk about that too.
Yeah. So we primarily do family building through referral, and the Center for Advanced Reproductive Services, of course, is always on our referral list. But yeah, we do a lot of referral-based support. We've done some really cool programs. Actually, some of them have been with the Center for Advanced Reproductive Services around, like things like talking about fertility preservation for the trans community. Talking about we did a really cool program a couple of years ago about fertility and HIV, and like for gay men who might be HIV positive, and like understanding actually what their fertility options are, because there are now fertility options for men who are, or well, anybody who is HIV positive, and ways that they can do all of the things they need to do safely without any transferal of anything. And so we've done a lot of those types of kind of more focused programs, and then we do periodically do programs with y'all and some of the other folks around the state to kind of directly connect people who are like, I actually want to talk about this topic in realism versus hypothetical, and those are always really great programs, and so we have one of those coming up in 2 weeks? 2 weeks, I think 2 weeks from tomorrow. I was gonna say 2 weeks from today, but today is Wednesday, and my days are all off because of the holiday. But yeah, so 2 weeks from tomorrow, which is the 17th. Sorry, I had to look at my calendar on my desk because I originally wrote the 16th and I knew that was wrong. So yeah, on the 17th, we're going to be doing a program. It is in partnership with y'all. And it's really going to be kind of this like public discussion about family building. There's going to be folks who have gone through the process. There's going to be doctors. There's going to be all kinds of great things. And then Scott Haney is moderating for us. So it's going to be really fun. And yeah, it's kind of going to be like part educational, but part like practical for folks who really want to understand, like, hey, I actually do want to have kids at some point in my life. Maybe it's not tomorrow, right? But this is like the kind of program where you can both get that practical knowledge and practical information, but also like some of the kind of bigger hypotheticals of like, this is what it means to be a parent, components too, which, none of us really know until we do it, but.
Right. So is this is virtual? It's not in your, but your center is open now. We
are officially open as of yesterday. We entered phase 1 of our reopen yesterday, June 1st. And so we're doing 3 phases, and really it's geared to keep everybody safe. Right now during phase 1, we are essentially open normal hours for normal in-person services. Like if you want to come and get food, or if you want to come and go to the clothing, or come and see Juan Carlos or anything like that, we are now open for all of those things. With Juan Carlos, make an appointment. But yeah, so we're open for all those things.
Drop in as well.
Yeah, and we have drop-in hours where you can connect with folks, and if you're just like looking like, hey, I want to talk to someone about volunteering or whatever, we're open for all that. Our gallery is also open for tours if you want to walk in and check out the art on our walls, which has been all virtual up until yesterday. But yeah, and the only thing that we're doing right now is we are limiting our capacity to like no more than 25 people in the center. And we are asking that folks wear masks, even if they're vaccinated, just to be super safe for everybody involved. Because we are in a space that doesn't have necessarily the best air circulation. But we are excited to continue to move towards phase 3, where nobody has to wear masks and we can all be together.
Excellent. I have one more question. Is your center only for New Haven residents, New Haven County residents?
You can be from any zip code. We will help you if you need help. That is our motto. That is our policy. And actually during COVID, we like went into that virtual space full on. We were like, yes, this is an opportunity. I will say we did have a slight head start because we had actually started having conversations like maybe 6 months before COVID about like, maybe we should think about doing some of our programs like in a hybrid model. So we kind of already had a couple conversations, but we really jumped into the virtual space. So we've done about 150 programs virtually since the start of the pandemic. That doesn't include any of our like support groups and stuff. If you add those in, it's like in the hundreds. And we really love being in the virtual space. It's made us so much more accessible to folks. And so moving in, as we move back into in person, we're committed to actually doing all of our programs as hybrids, as long as they're feasible. And so we're going to be streaming all our panels and conversations. We're still going to be doing virtual tours of all our exhibits. We're going to continue to provide call-in options and Zoom call-in options for folks for our support groups. Juan Carlos is going to do all case management services, providing it virtually as well, and making sure if someone needs like telehealth, so to speak, they have access to it. Because we've realized that, you know, I have to say, COVID, running a nonprofit during a global pandemic, not fun. Not fun at all.
Right.
It tried to kill me more than once, and not just when I had COVID. And I can't say enough about the team here that like pushed through sometimes 60-hour weeks where that was what we had to do to get the work done to meet the community need, right? But, you know, COVID sucked and COVID was really hard, but COVID taught us the power of what we do and taught us how actually important what we do is to the community. And we saw it firsthand, and we saw it in the ways that we were doing programming. We did more programming in COVID that was like deeper impact programming than we ever did before COVID. And it's not because what we did before COVID wasn't good. It was because we were suddenly in this very new world where we had to do better. We had to do things at this certain level. And so we just did it because it was the only option. Because failure, not doing it, closing, none of those things were options.
And we just figured it out.
We did. I taught myself how to produce virtual events. I taught myself how to use technology. I
mean, so before we go, one more thing about the event in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Do people need to sign up for it? Where will it be virtually?
So we in our real hope to, sorry, my computer is about to die. It's yelling at me. I'm sorry. I should have been more prepared. Here we go. So the event is not going to require registration because what we're going to actually do is stream it live. So we'll stream live. I love the stream. So we're going to be streaming it live on Facebook, YouTube. It'll be on the center's Facebook. It will also be it'll be our center's Facebook. It'll be on your center's Facebook. I just dawned on me that we both call it the center. Yeah. But yeah, so it will be on all of the social media channels. And actually, I think it may actually be our first event that we're also streaming on our New Haven Pride Center TV. That's going to be on our homepage. We're working out how to like actually functionally do that. But I think by this event, it will actually be our first one that will be playing on our homepage. But we are super excited to do it that way because it again, it's like taking down that one barrier, right? If you have to register, sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to give people my email, or I don't want to give people my phone number or whatever it is, because you're going to have to require some form of communication with folks. And so by streaming it, literally anybody can experience it. And it also means that it's always there, right? Like if you go to our YouTube library right now, and we actually have enough subscribers that we're actually youtube.com/c/New Haven Pride Center. We actually have our own URL now. Nice. But you can actually go back and explore all these programs. And again, that's part of like kind of maintaining the accessibility of what these programs are doing and how their work kind of promoting out into the world the great vast knowledge that the experts in our own community have.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Patrick. Tell us what your website name is. Yes,
we are newhavenpridecenter.org.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we'll be back next week for another Lunchtime Live with the Center. Be sure to check out our website, yukonfertility.com, for any additional information, as well as the calendar events to support your fertility journey. So see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.